All right, you might have heard it already. Some people are saying the worst is behind us. Sales are ticking up slightly, prices seem to be stabilizing, and the panic we saw last year is starting to fade. Some are even calling for a full market recovery and soon. I'm not so sure because when I look at what's actually happening on the ground right now, there are still 10 major factors holding this market back. And today, I want to talk you through all of them. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Blake Chancey, a realtor in the Greater Vancouver area. And every month, I break down what's actually happening in the market so you can make smarter decisions. That's whether you're buying or selling or just watching from the sidelines. Today, we're going to be talking about the recovery and more specifically, why we're not there yet. So let's get into it. Factor number one, mortgage delinquencies are rising and they're at the highest levels we've seen since 2016. Now, I want to be clear here. I'm not trying to scare anyone. Vancouver is still below national average when it comes to people falling behind on their mortgage payments. But here's the thing. Vancouver has always been below the national average for this. So that's not the headline. The headline is that delinquencies have doubled since 2022. Doubled. That tells me homeowners are genuinely struggling right now, and that's not a sign of the market on the way up. It's the opposite. So factor number two, pre-sale completion failures. This one is something I'm seeing more and more firsthand. Buyers who purchased pre-sale units a few years ago are now coming up to their completion date and they can't complete. Why? Some can't qualify for a mortgage at today's rate. Some others are planning to flip a unit for profit and never intended to even close. And in some cases, the property's actually dropped in value significantly, meaning the buyer has to come up with more cash on top of the deposit that they've already paid just to get their mortgage pre-approved. So that's a real issue that we're dealing with right now. And I think we're going to see a lot more headlines about it. Buyers walking away from their deposits and developers potentially pursuing legal action. The story is still developing. We saw fallout from this in 2025, and honestly, the pre-sale market got even tougher heading into 2026, and we're not done with this one yet. Factor number three, mortgage rates are not falling. We actually held steady with the Bank of Canada's most recent rate announcement on March 18th. Yes, rates came down from their recent highs, but they're still elevated by today's standards. I know some of you will say, Blake, we've seen 15, 18, 20% rates before, and you're right, but prices were different and the economy looked very different back then as well. So by today's standards, with price levels, these rates are still a real affordability barrier. And until that changes, buyers' purchasing power still stays limited. Factor number four, investors have left the building. And this one is huge because I don't think it gets talked about enough. Vancouver's condo market was heavily, and I mean heavily, dependent on investors. And every mom and pop were also becoming real estate investors. Now we're talking something like 50 to 60% of all one-bedroom condos sold were investment purchases, people buying to rent them out. Now that demand is basically gone. Rising interest rates made the math not work, and then a declining price inventory that we've seen, you're just not getting the same rental income, and it's just not very cash flow positive, if at all, to be an investor right now. So those people have completely left the buyer pool, and I don't see it coming back anytime soon. Factor number five, inventory is still historically high. I talk about this one every single month. We are sitting at historically high inventory levels right now. And until that gets absorbed, either through sales or listings being pulled, a real recovery just can't happen. Supply and demand runs all markets. Here's why it really matters. When you have multiple units for sale in the same building, sellers start competing with each other. Prices get cut, days on market pile up, the sales to active listing ratio gets completely thrown off. Months of supply goes up, and all of those create downward pressure on prices. Right now, sellers are competing with each other at a level we really haven't seen before. Factor number six, market inertia. This one is a bit more abstract, but bear with me here. When a market slows down, it's very hard to reverse that momentum. And a big reason for that is how real estate transactions are connected. So think about it. If you want to buy a townhouse, you probably have a condo to sell first. And if you want to buy a detached house, you probably have a townhouse to sell first. But if the condo market is slow, and right now those sellers can't sell, so they can't become buyers to that townhome or their house. So the sellers above them can't sell either. And it's a chain reaction. And right now, the chain is stuck. So until that inertia shifts, the market just keeps drifting in the same direction. Factor number seven, economic uncertainty across Canada. The economy is struggling right now, more than I've ever really seen in my lifetime. And it's not just a Vancouver problem, it's a Canadian problem. The latest numbers just came out and they aren't good. Canada lost 84,000 jobs in February. The unemployment rate is now at 6.7%. And I don't need to tell you what that means for real estate. When people don't feel secure in their jobs, they're not making big financial decisions. They don't buy homes, they don't sell homes, they wait. And beyond real estate, job losses have a ripple effect through the entire economy. Less spending, more layoffs, more uncertainty, it all compounds. Factor number 8, CUSMA negotiations. This one is on top of mind for a lot of people right now. The Canada, US, Mexico trade agreement negotiations are coming up, and we've all seen what tariff uncertainty does to the market. Earlier in 2025, things were actually moving. Condos and houses were selling were all at the start of the year. Then tariffs hit, and it put the brakes on everything. Now BC and Vancouver weren't hit as hard as some feared, but there was still a real impact. And now with negotiations on the horizon again, we're put in the same holding pattern. A lot of buyers and sellers are sitting on the sidelines, waiting to see how this plays out before they commit to anything. Factor number 9 is absolutely massive right now: land, title, claims. I want to be upfront. I'm not a lawyer, and I'm not going to pretend that I'm an expert on this. You can go speak to a lawyer or somebody else that is in this field day to day. We can all agree the land title claim situation is creating uncertainty in the market. Right now, on some private properties, 2 titles exist simultaneously. So what does that actually mean for buyers and sellers? Do extra taxes apply? Do you need additional permission to sell or develop? Nobody has clear answers yet. And that uncertainty alone is enough to keep some buyers on the sidelines. Factor number 10, geopolitical instability, the broader geopolitical picture. The conflict in Iran is creating ripple effects across global markets, oil prices and economies everywhere. And right now, there's a real debate about whether the Bank of Canada should cut rates or hold, and the messaging is mixed. Markets hate mixed messaging. Markets like stability. Markets like predictability. And right now, we don't have either of those. So there you have it. 10 factors that are still putting the brakes on recovery in Vancouver's real estate market. Now, I want to be clear about this. What I'm not doing in this video, I'm not predicting where prices are going, and I'm not telling you to buy or not to buy or sell or not to sell. Trying to call the market is a fool's errand. Nobody knows what's going to happen. What I'm doing is giving you an honest look at what's actually happening right now in March 2026 so that you can make an informed decision. As always, I'll keep you updated as things develop. If you found this helpful, hit the like button. It helps me so much to grow this channel. Subscribe so you don't miss the next update. And if you're in Greater Vancouver and you want to talk through your specific situation, buying, selling, or figuring out your next move, my contact info is in the description below. Appreciate you all so much for watching. Peace.